the biggest bubble busters, Country Roads and Lawrence, and we're going to do our Week 13 recap. Let's go.
Monday Night just threw his chair clear across the free throw lane. It's down. Woo! What a hit! You got barbecue back there?
Personal foul. 69. Offense. He was giving them the business.
Go back there. All right!
This is the Five Arms and a Lucky Finn podcast.
Oh, welcome to the Five Arms and a Lucky Finn podcast. This is the Lucky Finn Innings show. This is our college baseball show, reviewing games, talking about Field of 64 like we did last week. If you missed that, go ahead and go watch it. I think we did a pretty good job setting that up, but compared last week to this week, I think that thing is going to be flip-flopping all over the place because I thought we had it set in stone. I thought we were starting to get that solid top 25, and that is not the case whatsoever this week. Crazy week this week, Jason. What are your thoughts? How are we feeling? Are you confused?
I'm always confused, Kenny, when it comes to this baseball season. Every week we get something new. Everything changes. And something every week, every day, I feel like I'm texting you saying, Kenny, what are we going to do about these rankings? Where are we going to put people?
Well, especially this weekend. I mean, today it's just I think West Virginia was one of the biggest surprises this week. Oregon and UCLA, that was a good matchup. Texas lost the series. Coastal Carolina, I mean, they're up in the air now, so it'll be a ton. I mean, we'll just go quick rundown of today's show. We're going to talk about the biggest bubble busters, maybe some new bubblers popping up. We're going to review the top 13 games of the week, and then Jason will get to his Five Arms, and we'll give our final thoughts, and then possibly talk a little bit about the top 25. We are recording on a Monday. Didn't record yesterday. Happy Mother's Day, by the way. But Jason, let's start off quick here. Who out of our bubble teams that we had last week, who was that probably just bursted their entire bubble and then probably won't be back on the bubble? Or who's on the bubble? It could be both.
I think UAB is going to have a tough time right now. After the series loss that they had, they really needed to win that one because to me UAB was kind of already on the bubble, and a lot of people had them on the first four out already. I know we had them in the last four in, but with them being on the last four out with people that actually matter more than us and have a bigger say with things, I feel like they probably are going to slide out a little more, maybe be on the fence this week to be looking on the outside, looking in, trying to make their way back in, but they're gonna need a good win. What about you? Who do you think?
I think it's going to be East Carolina. I mean, honestly, the whole American Conference itself is on the bubble. I think it's looking like a one bid. Yeah, it's looking like a one bid league. That Sun Belt is taking over the mid-major area. Americans got to struggle. I thought UAB would be one of those teams that just did a lot better and kind of stayed the course, and just ended up not being the case. But
the other thing is Rice looking good. So maybe Rice can make a late push. It looks like, Kenny, the thing for UAB, here's their advantage, right? UTSA is most likely in the tournament.
Yeah.
I think even if they don't win, they're probably a good at-large spot. I know they're kind of on that cusp of being around. They're probably in that. If you were seeding everybody, they're probably in that 33 to 40 range right now, which kind of puts them in. They get UAB this weekend, so UAB has an opportunity against them this weekend. So,
yeah, but all these teams, they really don't have great RPIs. I mean,
no,
like not at all. UTSA's got the best at 50. I don't think East Carolina's helped themselves over this year at all. I mean, so we'll see about them. I'm not really too sure about an American Conference. Other than that, I think that's really about it. I don't think if anybody got really hit much harder than those two.
That were on the bubble.
Yeah,
We had
that were on the bubble period, but
our teams that were on the fence kind of got hammered. Arkansas State, LSU, Clemson, all suffered defeats, and Arkansas State, I believe, got swept. So
yeah,
that's tough for them. I think Purdue gets a help. Michigan gets some help. TCU gets some help. More solidifying their spots in the tournament as of right now, I'd say.
Michigan seems to be one of those teams that's coming into everybody's bubble. Now, but before we go, LSU, Clemson, Purdue, what was the other team? They were
Arkansas
on our fences. State. Arkansas, yeah, they were on our fences. They were not, I mean, we're talking like way back on the fence, not like close to a bubble, but
right.
I think that would be a conversation we get about these SEC teams, the fact that how they play in conference. Anyway, Jason, let's get into our predictions so we can get on with it. We had lots of red up here, but I'll take it as it is. I think the only really rough one we really had was, man, all of them.
No, it was rough. It was a unknown week. I tell you that.
I think this whole week surprised all of us. I mean, the West Virginia series, like we said, Oklahoma State's another surprising series. Florida State, that I'm surprised Clemson actually took one. I mean, we got it right. I didn't really think they would take one. But out of these, what you think's the biggest upset or biggest loss?
The most impact. I'll go with the most impactful. How about that?
Yep.
First off, West Virginia. That sweep in Lawrence is huge. This was a team for Kansas that was sitting at number 7. We were sitting in them in about the top 8. They were going to be a super regional host. All they had to do was close out the rest of the season and then do well in the Big 12 tournament. But West Virginia goes in. Their pitching staff is phenomenal. Offense comes alive a lot in that last game, and then they just pour it on and win all 3 games. Kenny, this is huge. I think this propels West Virginia. I know we originally, when we were making our bracket, had them in that 13 to 16 range. We moved them out because we figured between them and Arizona State, we'll give Arizona State the edge. But I think this puts them up in the top brackets or in the top 16. And Kenny, does this drop Kansas so far that you have to put West Virginia above them? What do you think?
I'm not going to say no yet. Wait, I'm not going to say yes yet because Kansas is still above them. And I'm just going to go off of the pattern. Last year, West Virginia did the same thing. They got hot at this time of the year, the week 11 to 13, and they kind of fell down. Maybe Kansas peaked too early. So I'd have to see until next week. I mean, again, I'm not going to even set anybody set in stone yet because I thought we were going to set everybody set in stone last week. Kansas just did not hit well over the weekend. They hit 180 and they struck out over 25 times. I mean, they just did not do well at all. West Virginia only used like 5 pitchers, and that was the whole. And I think we'll hit on this. Friday was great for starters. I think it was a decent weekend for pitching staffs this week. A lot of staffs didn't use a lot of pitching, and I think Game 3 West Virginia only used 2 pitchers. So
yeah, and I think the other thing that's good for West Virginia, this is a team that doesn't hit a lot of home runs. When you look at Game 1, they get 2 solo home runs. Game 2, they get 2 solo home runs. On Game 2, Matthew Graveline goes 3 for 4, and it's good to see the West Virginia bats coming alive, and I think that's what they're going to need, especially when we get down to postseason time. If they're going to host, I don't think they need a lot of home runs. Their pitching staff is really strong, but it's always helpful.
Yeah, I think they're definitely back in the hosting conversation. Now, the issue is there's a few teams that people keep kind of pushing up there a little bit more. I'm such a Florida hater, but Florida's been one of them. Apparently, they're counting the sweep win over Kentucky, the series win over Kentucky, and possibly how well they do against LSU as like a signal that they should be a top 8 seed.
What?
I
No.
swear that the D1 guys have said that. I don't believe that. Because they're going off of the RPI numbers, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. You cannot give teams that are at the bottom of the SEC give Florida credit for beating those teams. They are at the bottom of the SEC. So I don't want to get.
Kentucky's a good team, but like.
Yeah, no, Kentucky's not bad. I'm not saying Kentucky's, but I don't think Kentucky's like. I don't think they've even won a series or something. I mean, they're not getting swept, but they're not doing great. I mean,
they're 12.
I don't think Kentucky's good enough to be in a regional type caliber team, and that's what I'm saying here.
Do you think this series loss to Florida puts Kentucky on the bubble?
Yeah, I'd put them in the bubble. I don't think I don't want to give mediocrity. Thank God. Let's find it. Mediocre teams.
You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Mediocre teams. I mean, I don't know. It's a 13th win, 13 wins in the SEC kind of ordeal. I'm not win you games.
I'll play devil's advocate to you.
Thank you. We need that.
They're 31-18. I think if you're an SEC team and you have under 20 losses, you're probably getting in the tournament. So
no, yeah.
Unless
they'll put them in. They'll put them in.
And they'll get in. They get Arkansas at home this weekend. So that's the other thing, Kenny, right? Let's just say Arkansas goes in there and sweeps them. Well, they're still going to say, well, Kentucky's still, nothing they could do about Arkansas. They're playing so well.
Yeah.
And then we're basically going to reward
RPI
because their strength of schedule, right? So I can see it from both sides, but most likely we're going to see 12 SEC teams in the tournament. It's going to be hard not to, just the way the things are going.
But, man, who's making a great push? Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State goes out there and takes the series from Arizona State. A little surprise for the both of us. I had Arizona State sweeping. I think I was afraid. That first score, I was afraid. I said, I'm not getting this.
They get 6? They got 6 in the 9th, though. Oklahoma State had to make a huge comeback.
Yeah.
Huge comeback. And really, if you think about it, a lot of this was started by a throwing error. And then a game
we got messy.
Yes. And then a game time double by Aiden Mayola. And then it's capped off by a 3-run home run by their catcher, Campbell Smithwick, his 8th of the season. What a crucial time to get that 8th home run.
I think it went bad for Oklahoma State. I think the inning before. I think they dropped a couple pop-ups, or I can't remember what happened, but I believe they had some.
State?
No, I think it was Oklahoma State, like a few innings before.
Oh, in the first game.
Yeah, game one. One of the games they had, but I mean, I think we've talked about Arizona State having a little issues in bullpen, but and then game 2 was a home run fest. 7. Oklahoma State had 7 home runs.
Yeah.
3 for Arizona State. So, I mean, huge. But Oklahoma State's up there, and I think that's good for them. It's good to have them back in this. And where are they at this week? Are they 25?
No, they were 25 this past week. I think now they're
week.
sitting about 21. I think on D1s that came out today. That's the difference when we're recording this on Monday. We get to see the rankings come out. But I think they're having one spot ahead of Arizona State at 21.
So that should be good. Oklahoma State host 2 seed, depending on how. Is it too late for them?
Now they make a big run and win the Big 12. You could, if they win the Big 12 tournament, I mean, I'm going to think about it. But it also depends on how everybody else does. I tell you what, Kenny, talk about Dominic Smaldino. This dude went off for Arizona State this weekend. Even though they lost the series, he still goes 8 for 15 with 2 extra base hits, 5 home runs, and 14 RBIs. 3 of those home runs were on Sunday, and 8 RBIs on the game. Pretty sure the 3 home runs tied Arizona State single game record. And what's crazy is the last one he got was in the 8th inning. I believe it was a 2-run homer. And they go up big, and you can see the scoreline seemed a little closer for Oklahoma State. It was 11-7, but Oklahoma State made a big run, hit a couple home runs in the 9th inning. So, if they don't get that Smaldino home run in that 8th inning, kind of maybe we have a different pressure situation on Arizona State's pitching there in the 9th. But, the offenses were alive here. Alex Conover for Oklahoma State goes 7 for 12 with 3 home runs on the weekend as well. So just all around, both teams, you were talking about the home run fest. I mean, we saw a lot of dingers, and we talk about this Arizona State team is driven by their offense.
Yeah.
And we always talk about this is why this team is going to be so dangerous in a regional, no matter where they're at, whether it be at home or on the road. But Kenny, I believe a month ago, you brought up Oklahoma State. You said, "Where's Oklahoma State?" This is a team that just a couple years ago was playing at home in the regionals, and they come out of nowhere. It feels like
they really did.
TCU both. It feels like they've just both been sneaking in. They've been lying low, and now they're coming alive at the right time. So it will be interesting.
I'm trying to figure out who they have left. I mean, we're in that last week. I want to say Oklahoma has Kansas. Why do I want to say they have Kansas State
I
left?
got you. I'm pulling it up. Arizona.
Arizona. Okay.
Oral Roberts. At Oral
sweet.
Roberts tomorrow.
That's a great game to play. Hopefully they don't.
They won't get
not play
canceling.
it. No canceling.
No canceling.
Arizona State has Houston at Houston. So I'm not positive on Houston. That should be an easy. Yeah, it should be an easy little sweep. I believe
Houston's last. They're 6-12 in conference play.
So. Sweet. Well, speaking of the state of Texas A&M is loses the series to Ole Miss. A&M not a great weekend. Ole Miss is another team that's hit and miss, and they're a dangerous team, but didn't get a hold of them on game 2.
Yeah, that was tough. Game 2, Texas A&M gets 3 home runs in the 3rd. End up with 7. They get 7 in a game, Kenny. They get 7 in a game, including 2 by Ben Royo, who went 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs on the day. And impressive performance there by A&M in game 2, and they needed that. That was I believe game 2 and game 3 were on the same day. They get the big one, game 1, and Ole Miss ends up prevailing in game 3 to win the series. I need to stop. Whenever you send me your picks, I'm just going to start picking the opposite because
can we not go the same?
You've lost every week. I've beaten you every week, and then this week you've won.
I won by a point. I'm so happy about myself.
You did, and I know we're getting
point on you.
But the other thing that's interesting about this is, Kenny, where does this move A&M? When we think about A&M, up until now we had them in the top 8. Mm-hmm. Where do you think this drops them to? I mean, I know rankings came out, but where do you have them?
I don't want to drop them too big. I think maybe just a 10 spot. Well, here's the problem is if I say a 10 spot, that means I believe that Oregon State is better than A&M, which I do not believe. So maybe just keep them at maybe a 10. I say 10, but that's saying Oregon State is at 11 or 12. And
I still think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, people have moved them up, but I believe that's because of who maybe above them lost. I mean, you played Long Beach State. This is not the 90s anymore. Like you have not done, you don't get to, I don't.
I will say people may have removed them up, I think, in their rankings, but I think when we see people's brackets come out, now I like to look at ours, do ours first without looking at anybody else's because I don't want to be swayed. Yeah, I don't want to, and I also don't want to be swayed to anything that I thought to be different. But I do still think Oregon State's probably in that 13 to 16 range. I don't think they're moving up from that, to be honest. I still think you're going to see SEC teams sitting in that 10 to 12 range, mainly because of the pod situation, where you're going to have these SEC teams that are sitting right outside of the top 16, and you're not going to be able to send them to another SEC team. So you're going to see those SEC teams in that 9 to 12 range rather than that 13 to 16.
Well, we got off a little tangent. Let's hit on the Winthrop and High Point. No. Oregon, UCLA. UCLA has asserted their dominance. I think that is going to be this. They'll go all the way, and it's just going to be dependent on who's going to play UCLA in this final. But can we talk about crap?
You got it. I believe in you.
Dean West. Did you see what he did on Game 3?
Kenny, did you see what he did in Game 2?
No, I did not see what he did. Maybe I'm thinking about Game 2.
You're right, because Game 2 he went 0 for 5. But what did he do when he came back in Game 3?
Jeez.
4 for
so
5.
you put no, not Game 3.
No, you're right.
I'm talking Dean West.
Yeah, Game 3 he went 4 for 5. The
day
before
4 for 5. I thought you said 0 for 5 on Game 3.
On Saturday he went 0 for 5.
Okay.
This brings me to a quote from a great movie I love called Trouble with the Curve with Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood says, "A computer can't tell you." Let me make sure I get this right.
Yeah.
A computer can't tell you if you're going to be able to look a kid in the eye who just went 0 for 4 and have him come back the next day like nothing happened. But Dean West did exactly that. Impressive.
So you put first in the notes that he hit a grand slam. You put it in the notes, but you missed that he robbed a grand slam.
Okay, I did not see
few inning priors. Yes, not only did he rob this grand, this thing was a tank. Moonshot. And he his arm dipped over the wall and he grabbed it out of the wall. Now, the Oregon went on a run still after that. If he did not rob that home run, I think you're looking at Oregon taking this series this weekend. That's how big of a robbed home run.
Especially, yeah. Especially because UCLA was already down 6-1 at one point.
Well, it was 2-0 at the time.
Right. No,
so it was 2-0.
It would have been a lot worse.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
So, it got worse, but his home run was a monster. Excuse me, too. So, props to dude. UCLA is hot, dude. It's not just their pitching staff. They can rip it, and it's not like they were when they went to the College World Series last year, where they were just hitting these little infield hits. They got through. They're ripping it. So I got them high, man. I think they're going to be great. I don't think this really hurts Oregon much. It's UCLA. That was UCLA's first conference loss. Maybe at home. I think it's their first conference loss. So that shows you how great
their first conference loss of the.
That shows you how good that team. That's ridiculous.
And I'm with you. This also says a lot about how good this Oregon team is. I did not see this Oregon team coming in and doing what they did, and they were so close. They were this close, Kenny, to winning the series with UCLA, which really would have put them into that hey, stop acting like we're not good.
Yeah.
But I still think, even with the loss, it still looks that good. I still think they look great. I still think they're not really hurt by much by this. Mm-mm. I think they're still in that regional hosting conversation.
I think they should be too.
Maybe slightly lower just because of how well some teams did. But I don't think you move them much. And shout out Rock Chalowski. another great weekend. I mean, we're looking at probably the number 1 overall pick in the draft. Gets another 3 home runs this weekend. So it's just another continuation, Kenny. Like you were saying, offense is impressive, pitching is impressive. This is the best team up and down the lineup.
So. 100%. So that's probably that was a good game to see, and just to kind of get a better taste of UCLA, see where Oregon is. We won't really talk about Florida State much. It's a series win over Clemson.
I will say I do have a question for you, Kenny, off of this Florida State one, right?
I like questions.
Florida State gets Miami next weekend. They're hosting Miami next weekend.
Okay.
What do you need to see from them to solidify them hosting a regional next weekend?
They've done pretty well without their star player who got hurt earlier. And it hasn't hurt them much. So I'm going to give them points off not having to deal with a hurt player. I'm trying to get this point here.
You got it.
They lose the series. If they lose the series, I think maybe they'll probably be 16 at a 16 host, 16 seeded host at best. Yeah. I mean, they win it. They probably just stay there. If they sweep, they move up. I don't think it's hard to tell. What are you thinking?
I'm in that weird thing with Florida State where I don't feel like they can move they can't move up too much, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think a 2-1 over Miami gets them the host no matter what happens in the ACC tournament. I think that's what's going to solidify them, because when we think about the pods and where those SEC teams are, I mean, that 13-16 is going to be pretty much non-SEC teams. We may get one in there, but most likely no SEC teams are going to be there, because we're going to have so many on the outside, and you can't have 8 SEC hosts. Or, well, I mean, I guess they can, but I don't think that's what's going to happen.
Not this year.
Yeah, I don't think that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I think a 2-1 is fine. And then it doesn't really matter what else happens.
I definitely want to hit on the conference tournaments coming up at the end of this. Can I get your thoughts on what performances will show up? But this last series, this is probably a big important one for the Big South. You're surprised on Winthrop getting swept. It's a little bit, so am I. I mean, HPU is a great team that everyone is. I don't want to see them in my regional. My regionals and LSU regional, so that ain't really happening. But what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts on Winthrop?
Yeah, Winthrop gets up early in Game 1 and Game 2, gets ahead 6-0 in Game 1, gets up 2-0 in Game 2. So it's not like the offense didn't come to play in the beginning, but man, High Point, just like you were saying, they're just so good. They just came alive, overcome adversity, make big comebacks, and come back and win that Game 1. Mm-hmm. They tied the game in the 9th on a sac fly, and they win it in the 10th on a sac fly. Kenny, that just tells me a lot about situational hitting in this High Point team, and that's what we love to see. And this is a Big South team that we have as a 3 seed right now. When we think about the at-large spots, I mean not the at-large spots, the conference champion spots. You know, you're going to have 16 4 seeds, but then there's going to be some left over that are going to have to be 3 seeds, the top of the top tier ones. And we have the Big South as one of those opportunities if it's High Point. This is a huge one because Winthrop was a team that's played well all year. They've beaten a lot of big Power 4 teams in the mid weeks and performed really well. So I'm with you. Shock, but impressive for High Point.
High Point's played like some really high caliber teams this year. So, and that's why I'm pushing for them for a 3 seed. I don't think a 4 seed does this, to be honest, from whom they played and so on and so forth. We'll finish off. We'll get into our other predictions. Thank God. What is going on?
It's the internet.
I know. Cox sucks so bad. Cal Poly, we got that one correct. Look, I knew I should have taken Louisiana Tech because that team is they're getting there big, dude. Come on. The Texters. Why we said West Carolina was going to take a game from Wake, I don't know. I think we just don't trust Wake. And Indiana State. I think this is where I got you here, this Indiana State game. Indiana State and Murray. All of these games play big roles in their conferences. And I think this Western Carolina Wake Forest game, we were just wanted to see how West Carolina plays because I think that's one of the teams, take a breath, that we kind of have maybe getting into a regional.
Yeah, they're sitting top of the SoCon, so I think that is why I thought about putting that one in there. Western Carolina, Wake Forest. This is a Wake Forest team that's kind of also like Oklahoma State. They're coming alive at the right time. In Western Carolina, we just had a big weekend last weekend. We talked about them against, I believe they had Wofford, and so this was one of those where I'm like, all right, we're gonna see how good some of these smaller schools really are against some of these bigger ones. Man, Wake Forest came to play in that series.
Yeah, that I didn't really keep close with it. I'm wondering if their pitching staff's kind of getting up there a lot better. That seems to be their issue, is their pitching staff. But throughout this weekend, we've seen that the pitching staff, oh my God, the pitching staff, when you shut them out, you kind of just let your batters have free range. And looking at the scoreboard, that kind of seems to be the answer. There you go.
Did you cut yourself out?
No, I think when I put up go ahead. I cut us both out.
You had just finished your saying, so if you wanted
I cut both of us out.
Oh, okay, perfect. I was just gonna say, talk about the Wake Forest pitching staff. 39 strikeouts over the 25 innings in this series. I mean, that's huge. Using 11 different pitchers across the series. Now,
they're finding.
Once. So it's across the board. We talk about a lot of bullpen guys need to come alive when it comes time to the postseason, and that's where a lot of Wake Forest's pitching staff could be really helpful. Wake Forest gets all their runs in the game one off of home runs. Wake Forest gets 14. All 14 of their runs, Kenny, in game 2 come in the first 4 innings. Headed by Dalton Wentz, gets 2 home runs on the day, and Wake Forest bouncing back in game 3 after Jackson Lyda for Western Carolina led off the game with a home run. So it's like, how good is this Wake Forest team, Kenny? Are they putting things together? Is this a team that are they going to be dangerous? And if you're Western Carolina, are you worried after getting swept in this one?
No, because it's Wake Forest. They're still a hot ACC team. The ACC's not that bad. I don't know about Wake Forest. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, their end of the year maybe could be getting better. I mean, the fact that they used that many pitchers and still got away with a good win is a good sign to me. But again, it's East Carolina. It's one of those why they're ending. Boston College played the New Jersey Institute of Technology,
IT or whatever.
Yeah, that's weird. They even lost. They lost a game to them. Yeah. I don't know if you saw that.
They only played 2 games. It was a split series. It was a weird weekend.
They played 2 games at the end of the season.
I don't know. ACC.
And you know what? I think Boston College just canceled another game this week too.
Yeah, they're probably nervous after losing to NJIT.
It's ridiculous. Anyway,
Wake Forest is at Liberty tomorrow and at Duke this next weekend. So are they solidified in a 2 seed?
Yeah.
Assuming they win 2 out of 4.
I don't want to give them a 2 seed. I don't know about a 2 seed. I think they're a fringe 2 seed.
We had them on a 2 seed.
I don't want them as a 2 seed. That's what I'm saying. I don't think they. Well, I think we had them there because Who else are we going to put there? I don't think
I
any.
don't know. Look, I haven't even looked at it for this week. No. Hey, Tennessee. We're going to talk about them being a 2 seed.
Let's talk about Tennessee right now. I think Tennessee got the series win over Texas. Texas had an issue with pitching staff. Riojas was hurt, so they switched their pitching staff around, and they just kind of got lit up. I mean, in that little league ballpark, you can't get lit up at that park. You're just going to give up home run after home run, and Tennessee kind of put it to them, except for the last game. And you think this hurts Texas a lot, or?
No, not really. I think Tennessee's coming alive. They're playing really well right now. They've been playing well the recent weeks, and their pitching staff is pitching really well. We'll talk about it a little bit later with, a little foreshadowing of the 5 arms. But, Kenny, when you switch around your rotation like that, and obviously this is partially due to an injury, but what do you think that does to the psyche? Do you think that is impactful? I mean, baseball players are creatures of habit.
Yeah. I think it's good at this point because you get to the end of the season where you're going to start. And Texas has been flipping around their pitching staff, and they figured it out. They've pitched a lot better through the last couple series. I think this because of the little injury that Riojas had. They're just kind of playing around with it a little bit. And we talk about those guys that kind of follow after the starters. It gets a little rough. So I think it's good for Texas to kind of see that, kind of give a taste of what it could be like and adjust it. So I think it would be good. I think it's fine.
Gotcha. And if you think about, I believe you had the notable games up on the screen. Man, some impressive weekend games. Just going to quickly touch on some of these. SIU Edwardsville gets a sweep over Eastern Illinois, who had just swept SEMO last weekend.
We talked about that. Golly, those score lines.
Yes, and then SEMO gets a sweep as well this weekend. So it's like, I feel like this conference is really up in the air because now SIU Edwardsville moves into the number 1 seed. So their conference tournament is going to be fun. I'm probably going to be watching that one close because it'll be really interesting. I think it'll be really competitive. But Kenny, the rest of these games on here, we have them on here for a reason. You talked about it earlier. We got bubbles. We got fence lines. What stands out? I mean, what are you most shocked by here?
I think the only thing I'm really shocked by is, probably TCU. TCU kind of just jumping up. I think if TCU can grab that spot, I mean, there's some spots that I think people have lost spots this week. Pittsburgh, I think they're kind of losing that, and if whoever's able to step up next. And I think TCU it sounds like one of the teams that's growing up there. East Carolina's losing to a Rice team that's just hot at the right time. I think that's about it. Mississippi State, Auburn's a great team. I think Mississippi State's just mid-range right now, not good enough to beat an Auburn team that's probably the best and one of the best teams in the country, especially with their pitching staff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on TCU. TCU super impressive this weekend. Giving up only 4 runs across the 3 games was really impressive. And we had them on the bubble already in the last 4 in, or the first 4 out for us. I believe they move into that last 4 in now. Maybe even off the bubble into the tournament. We'll see how things shake up when we look at it. But I'm with you. Pitt, I think, is now out. I mean, they're sitting 14th in conference play. And I think you're going to see a couple teams move in. We talked about it a little bit earlier on the phone. NC State, they're jumping up. They're sitting 7th in conference right now, 31-19 on the season. So, we're going to see some bubble teams move around a lot. And so, man, right when you think bubble teams are getting, like you said, right when you think things are getting figured out. Nope.
Right.
Nope. So,
hey, maybe it was Mother's Day, and everyone, maybe the moms were there, and everyone was a little nervous this weekend. I mean, who knows? Who knows? But some pitchers weren't nervous. Some pitchers weren't nervous.
Oh, we get some.
Let's talk about our 5 arms.
5 arms of the week.
5 arms of the week. Wait, hold on. Let me play it. I don't have it. I don't have that. I forgot. I haven't made one. I haven't made one yet.
All right, we'll get it at some point. If not, we'll just do it for next year. First off, we'll start off with Tegan Kuhns, the sophomore right-hander, made an appearance on the 5 arms of the week before, so he gets another one this week. Gets 7 innings, 4 hits, giving up no runs, and having 15 strikeouts, Kenny, which ties an SEC season record that we had this season by Kason Evans against Oklahoma earlier this year. And he does that against Texas, who's one of the best teams in the country. So heck of a performance by the Tennessee right-hander. And getting hot at the right time. Tennessee, we talked about them. Their pitching staff is playing really well. This is going to be a guy, Kenny, when I think about Tennessee getting into a regional, I do not want to be the 3 or 2 seed between whichever one they get. I don't want to be the one on the other side because this guy's going to be coming lights out in that game.
Oh, the way, Tennessee still has that culture since Hothead left, and it's still there. It's still there. So you know how they are when Tennessee gets hot. It's entertaining. It's really entertaining.
He's got a 3.13 ERA on the season, Kenny. 3.13. That's so impressive.
I hear that name all the time.
Kuhns. What, Tegan Kuhns?
Yes. Almost repeat.
Next, we got West Virginia. We talked about them a little bit with that Kansas series. Really want to shout out Max Yale here. Junior left-hander improves to 7-1 on the season. Improves his ERA to 2.04 on the season. And this is his first complete game on the mound, Kenny. So West Virginia's pitching staff, like we talked about earlier, really coming alive at the right time. So super impressive there. Next, we get a no-hitter, Kenny. We got another no-hitter this year. We got a no-hitter by Carson Swayam. He gets the sophomore left-hander gets his first complete game, gets a no-hitter. I'm assuming if it's the first complete game, first no-hitter. So career-high 15 strikeouts for him. So it's another 15K day. So like you were talking about, Friday was led by the pitchings. This wasn't on Friday, but, across the weekend we had some really good pitching. Then I want to highlight, this is the one team that's probably not going to make the tournament that's on this list. But I do want to shout out Vincent Borghese. The senior right-hander is 1 out away from a complete game and gets his ERA down to 4.07 on the season for Rutgers. And then our last one, want to shout out a Thursday game against Auburn for Mississippi State. Tomas Valinkas. Got that right, Valinkas. He goes 6 2/3, gives up 4 hits. He gives up 3 runs, but it is impressive, Kenny, that he gets 13 strikeouts against that Auburn team, and that Auburn team is really, really good. And this is the only game that Mississippi State wins in a series, so it's a big shout-out to him. He's only a sophomore left-hander as well, and that 13 Ks was only 1 shy of a season high against Vanderbilt. He improves to 8-2 on the season and gets his ERA down to 2.52. Well, it technically went up, Kenny. That's how good his ERA has been on the season. It goes up in the game, but he goes to 2.52, which is still hella impressive.
Jesus, yeah, that is impressive. Well, look, there's a couple of guys on there that, especially Kuhns and Valinkas. I don't think I said that right.
Valinkas, you got it right.
Yeah, you'll hear those names repeat. So definitely used to hearing those names. We'll do our trivia question from last week. This kind of went off of the week when I was talking about bats before. Which team has the most home runs in the College World Series? That would be LSU and USC. I don't think that's a surprise to really anybody, especially if you're an LSU fan or even the bats in the 90s. And I think after this year, they went to BESR, or they changed the bats all together again. And I think LSU had broke the home run record that year or the year after. But you had a little side note on this. What LSU only achieved it in 4, USC only in 6.
Yeah, really impressive. Both teams get 17 home runs in that tournament. But yeah, LSU doing it in 4 games, USC in 6, so it makes it even more impressive for Gorilla Ball era for LSU. And that was the Skip Bertman days where they just had a dynasty there in the 90s. So I don't think anybody's really surprised that it ends up being an LSU team or, like you were saying, a USC team. But that's why we said it's important to include the year, because you got to get the year right.
Well, Jason, I think we'll wrap it up here. Final question. So conference tournaments are coming up, and there's been a lot of conversation of, depending on how you do in these conference championships, how big of a showing do you need to have to get into a regional? For instance, Vanderbilt has been a team that shows up well in the SEC tournament. If they show up, do well in this tournament, maybe win it, do they get an advantage of getting a regional or getting into a regional? And I'm saying this why? Because I keep on seeing teams like Kentucky, and there's just a couple other teams that are getting this conversation is, okay, what about the conference tournament? Okay, absolutely not. That's great for the conference tournament, but you've had all these chances all year. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence with it.
Yeah, I think it depends on the team, which is my cop-out answer. But you brought up Vanderbilt, so let's talk about Vanderbilt for a second. I think this Vanderbilt team, they get South Carolina this weekend. They're going to have an opportunity to get to that 13, 14 wins. If they get the sweep, they get to 14 on the season in the SEC play, which is, like that number, that magic number they need kind of stuff. But for me, I think Vanderbilt would really have to go on a run, because I'm looking at, they'd have to, obviously if they win the tournament they're in, I think they would have to honestly get to the conference championship to be really in that mix, because at that point here's the thing, it also depends who they go through. They're going to have to go through top teams to get to that championship game regardless. Right. And now we're talking about a hypothetical that they can get bounced first round and nothing even matters. But let's say they go on a run, they beat Auburn, they beat Texas, they beat Florida. I mean, that could happen. We looked at we had saw the new format. We get all 16 teams in this year. It'll definitely be really interesting. So they could go on a run, but I think that's what it's going to have to take. Get to the conference championship game for Vanderbilt. LSU, they'd have to win it. Yeah.
Well, Jason, any last final thoughts? I guess we're going to go live again. If you didn't miss live, I think you missed a great show. We're still getting views on it, so good for that. I think it'll be a lot of a flip-flop this week, excuse me. But that's it for me. Jason, anything else?
I was just going to touch on the same thing. We had so much fun doing our reveal last week, and we're really hoping everybody just comes back, join the show, give us your thoughts. We want to see more comments. We want to see people saying, hey, great take. We want to see people that disagree, and I want to see the bad takes. I want to know what people's thoughts are. So, please join, and looking forward to seeing y'all there.
Anyway, like, share, subscribe, give us some comment. We got the Hoosier Homer Hour. Those guys are talking about whatever the Hoosiers talking about. Whatever. We don't talk about it. This is college baseball. We are 1 week. We got conference tournament, and then we could finally – I cannot wait. I'm tired.
We're here.
I just want to watch some squeeze play, dude. Come on.
The 5 arms